Let's see if there's any points of agreement we can find. So my claim, as you can read, is that Trump is the most corrupt American president. What do you think?
This is all just my personal opinion. I support President Trump. No, I disagree with that. President Trump, I support President Trump because the political left is crazy. And I'll talk to you about C-19, the border, the left's obsession with this LGBTQFU agenda. The left allows riots. I want détente with Russia. I support Israel. Postmodernism, the Frankfurt School, Hollywood, MTV has made the political left crazy. And I know it's ironic I support Israel, but yeah, this is all just my personal opinion. We can talk about any one of those things if you want.
No, I don't necessarily think it's ironic that you support Israel. I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. Okay. I'm confused, so I'm going to ask some clarifying questions. Okay. So you don't agree with the premise that Trump is the most corrupt American president, but your reasons are what? You think that go a little bit deeper on that.
I absolutely despise the political left.
Okay. So Trump's corruption and your hatred for woke connect how? I'm just confused. Let me connect two topics here. How do trans people tie into, say, something like Trump coin? Where's the overlap here? How does wokeness make Trump less corrupt? Because all my claim is that he's the most corrupt president we've ever had, and now I don't think that that's negated by you hating woke. I don't.
What corrupt?
Huh?
He's transactional. I don't think it's much as corruption as he's transactional.
Sure. This is a good place to start. Let's define corruption. How I'm defining corruption, I take corruption to be the usage of official powers for personal gain. Go ahead.
Okay. Like the plane from Qatar, is that what you're talking about?
Well, the plane is an okay example, but the plane gets a little wonky because it really depends on whether or not he keeps it. Now, if it is the case that 2029 comes around, Trump's term is over, and he says, "Hey, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and let the next president use this. This is gonna be the new Air Force One for the next president. Then it's not. I wouldn't see it as corrupt at all, really. So the plane one gets a little weird.
But don't you think to some degree, like most politicians are corrupt?
Maybe to a much lesser degree, possibly to a much lesser degree. Here's where I would draw the line, and you can tell me how you feel about this one. There's one pretty specific line in the sand that I would draw, and I would say that every president has president kind of has the potential for corruption, to do corrupt actions. Good. I'll give you a good example. I think that Biden pardoning Hunter was a corrupt action, right? So every president has the ability to engage in corruptness, but I would say that Trump uniquely is corrupt in that his main goal is personal gain.
You just think President Trump is much more extreme in corruption than
I would say by at least 100x, probably more. And I would say that his main goal is personal gain. Now, Biden did something, again, I don't think I'll ever get a better example, at least out of Biden. I don't think I'll get a better example of just pardoning Hunter. That's a great example of doing a corrupt thing. That is literally the definition that I gave you. Remember the definition I gave you, using official powers for personal gain. Pardoning your own kid right before you leave office so that you don't lose your child to prison. That is textbook. That is the perfect fit for my definition. That is Biden using his official powers as the president to benefit himself, or at least a family member, but it also benefits him in that he won't lose his last, remaining son to prison. So that's a good example of a president doing a corrupt action. But I don't think that Biden is corrupt inherently, in that I don't think it was his main goal. I don't think he engaged in corrupt action so often as to shock the conscience. Whereas it seems like every other thing that Trump does, every other action he engages in, he does so for his own gain.
I support President Trump because, look, I think that it's fair to say that corruption is prevalent among most politicians, but I'm just going to go back to my original statement. I support President Trump, and I am so grateful to President Trump because I think that the political left is subverting Western civilization, and President Trump was the only person who could stop them. Like, he sealed the border. So I don't really care what he does, to a large degree.
What if he convinced, because he does have like a pretty good stranglehold on the Republicans in Congress right now. What if he convinced them to declare war against Mexico and we invaded and occupied Mexico? Do you think that would change it? Would you? And I'm only asking. I know that's so extreme, and I'm only asking because you said you don't really care what he does. If he took an action that was just so fucking unhinged like that, would that change your mind? Would you care now?
Yeah, well, going after cartels, I think, is okay, but an invasion that would be inappropriate. I agree with that. Yeah,
that would be inappropriate, or that would be fucking insane.
Well, it would
Inappropriate seems like some pretty couched language to me. It seems like you're just like, well, you know, like I would say like hitting on a coworker might be inappropriate. We're talking about invading an ally. That's what we're talking about.
It would depend on the context, but no, I don't think we can invade Mexico. I agree with you.
Okay. All right. So what I'm getting, I'm going to try to summarize you, and you tell me if I'm getting it. You would say that there might be things that Trump has done or is doing that are corrupt, meaning using his power for personal gain, but you don't care because you saw Kamala as such a massive threat to the country that it's worth it?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think Kamala would have done that would have like ruined the country?
The Democrats allowed approximately 15 million illegal immigrants into this country with no due process, and I think that would have continued, and I think it would have gotten to a point like Western Europe, which would have put the U.S. on the brink of collapse.
You think that Kamala would have deliberately allowed infinite levels of immigrants to come over?
Million legal immigrants.
Okay, like, do you have an explanation as to why in the last months of his term, Biden, everything that you would champion Trump for doing to close the border and to get the crossing numbers down, Biden did at the end of his term?
Yeah, that's because they were trying to present a perception of doing something about the crisis they created. They created the crisis, and then all of a sudden, 6 months before the election, they wanted to fix it? No.
You don't think that?
Right. Why did
you don't think that Biden would you don't think Biden would like have the ability to foresee that it was too late to help optically?
They were trying to, because there was an election approximately 6 months before the election, they tried to.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know you're saying it was pure optics, right? He only did it so he could change perceptions of his treatment of the border. Yeah.
Why did Democrats allow approximately 15 million people in here illegally? Why did they allow that?
I would say Biden's mismanagement of the border was a very bad decision that was made with good intentions, right? So when I say that, what I'm talking about is Biden seemed very what's the word? Hell bent, kind of. Yeah, sure, that's a good enough word. He seemed pretty hell bent on getting some comprehensive immigration legislation passed. Unfortunately, one of the issues that I was just talking about this with a guy, you probably didn't hear it, but the last conversation I had, I was bringing up this exact problem. One of the issues with our fucking Congress is that they only ever want to do anything about anything when the problem is like right in front of their face. There has to be an active problem right in front of you, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll do something. It seems like Biden very much wanted to get some comprehensive immigration legislation done, and using executive authority. Now, we do know that he could have used executive authority to pretty much
yes,
he could have used executive authority to put kind of limitations on the border so the issue wouldn't be as big. If you do that, the issue always ends up being, if you use executive authority to solve an issue, then Congress doesn't have that fire under their ass to fix the problem via legislation, and he really wanted legislation.
Well, he could have made an executive order to give Congress a time to come up with a more permanent solution. No?
You're like really far away from your microphone at this point. I can't really hear you too well.
Oh, here, hang on one second.
Yeah, go for it.
I said that Biden could have issued an executive order as a national emergency, as an invasion, to seal the border, and that would have given time for a more permanent solution by Congress to have been implemented.
Sure. That kind of completely steps over my assertion. You understand that? Like, you didn't engage with my assertion at all. You just stepped over the. If you want to like have a conversation about like why decisions get made, you kind of have to engage with the motivations that I'm laying out for you. If you just step over them, it's not worth having. It's not even worth talking, really, if you're just going to step over the motivations.
The Democrats wanted them in here. That's why they did it.
Right. So then you'd have to offer, which you won't because you can't. You'd have to offer some evidence of that.
They wanted to secure future power in voting because they knew that supporting the third world would put approximately 95% of those voters as Democrats.
Sure. Again, I'm gonna keep asking until you say something, like until you respond. You're gonna have to respond to me, or I'm never gonna stop asking you the same question. Can you provide some evidence of that? But that was the motivation. Provide evidence of intent at all.
Because they didn't seal the border. That's why.
So you're gonna skip over my explanation for that decision, offer your own, not provide any evidence when like the explanation I gave you for why it like makes complete logical sense.
It doesn't make any sense that the Democrats want open borders, to quasi open borders. Do you think that's wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, then why did they allow approximately 15 million people in here illegally?
I told you just chose not to engage.
Tell me again.
All right.
Tell me again.
Here we go. Follow me. Biden made it pretty clear through his own statements, through his own efforts to get a bill, an immigration bill, passed through Congress, that was something he wanted. He wanted a bill to address immigration comprehensively. What?
When did he want that?
Are you unaware of the Langford bill?
Yeah, when was that?
When was what? When was it proposed? When did it start getting worked on? What?
When was that?
When was it proposed? Is that the question you're asking?
Pretty fucking simple. Title 42 expires, and Biden should have issued an executive order putting the military on the border, sealing the border.
Sure. I'm gonna need you to calm down, okay?
They wanted these people in here.
Can you provide some evidence of that intent?
Yeah, because in 2023, everybody who just questioned what was going on in the border was called a racist. That's why.
That's the evidence of intent?
Aurora, Colorado was the consequence.
Oh, you're talking about consequences. That's weird. I asked for evidence of intent.
They didn't seal the border. That's the evidence of intent.
Are you going to ignore what I said about reasons not to have sealed the border?
He just could have issued an executive order like Trump did.
I agree. He could have, yeah.
Why didn't he?
Because if you solve the problem via executive fiat, then that decreases the motivation for Congress to solve the problem via legislation. He wanted comprehensive immigration legislation so that these problems could be avoided in the future. One of the issues that you're going to find out, you're going to find out the hard way when it comes to Trump. In 2029, you're going to have a really rough lesson you're going to have to reckon with. One of the issues with ruling via executive fiat is that every change that you make with an executive order can be undone with an executive order. So one of the ways, if you want to make changes to the country and you want to keep them semi-permanent, now nothing's permanent. It could be, if you pass something with legislation, it could be undone via legislation. But if you want to make something a little bit more permanent, you govern via legislation. That's a really solid way to make changes inside the country. But if you solve a problem with executive fiat, Congress loses that fire under their ass that they would have had otherwise to solve the problem.
What do you think that Western Europe made a mistake by allowing the third world to come into Western Europe with this crisis of SA? Do you think that was a mistake by Western Europe?
I couldn't tell you. Western Europe's not America.
No, it isn't. But did Western Europe, in your opinion, did Western Europe make a mistake? Should they have allowed mass migration? Yes or no?
I don't know what's good for them.
No, they shouldn't have.
You seem very upset.
It is the subversion of Western civilization. Yes, I am upset. I fucking despise the Democrats.
Okay,
they're insane.
Yeah,
and they're totalitarian.
Huh?
And we can talk about C-19. We can talk about the border. We can talk about
who did the lockdowns for COVID?
Democratic governors.
Okay, who was president?
Yeah, President Trump reluctantly agreed to the spread.
He agreed. So would you say he's like weak? He's like weak in character if he just like agreed because the Democrat governors asked him?
2 weeks to slow the spread was reasonable. The lockdowns lasted.
I don't know. He seemed like he was president for a lot longer than 2 weeks. Why wasn't he like pushing back as hard as he could? I think he could have done something, but he didn't. In fact, who got the vaccine made?
I never got the vaccine. Did you?
Who got it made? Who did Operation Warp Speed?
President Trump.
Okay.
Who was trying to mandate it? Who wanted vaccine passports?
Nobody wanted vaccine passports.
Oh no, the Democrats did, didn't they?
No.
Oh really?
Why aren't there vaccine passports?
Oh really? Oh wait. In 2021, was the left not trying to fucking coerce and pressure people to get the vax? Is that not true?
It's kind of a different question than what you asked, right?
Oh no. Oh dude. Okay. Wasn't there a requirement in places like Madison Square Garden to have a vaccine passport in 2021 and go to a fucking basketball game, or am I wrong?
Wouldn't that be like the New York governor or the New York mayor's issue?
Yeah, Democratic governors. That's what I said.
So the blame goes to the governor. Like, so the excuses for you can like use governors to excuse Trump's actions, but then you can just use blame the governors, and it kind of lumps Biden in somehow. How does that work?
Trump wanted 2 weeks to slow the spread, which he reluctantly agreed to, which I actually thought was reasonable. But the lockdowns lasted for years in 2020 and 2021 because of Democratic governors. But in the summer of 2020, the left does a 180 and encouraged protesting, allowed chaos and riots and looting. Why is that? Why is that? Why did the Democrats in the summer of 2020 encourage protesting?
Encourage protesting? You should encourage protesting. Don't we have a First Amendment in this country?
More important?
Huh?
When we're locking down?
I mean, lockdowns don't negate the First Amendment, do they?
If we're locking down because of the dangers of C-19, okay, so you were for the lockdowns, is that right?
Did I say I was for the lockdowns?
I'm asking you, are you?
No.
Were you? You were not for lockdowns.
No.
So the Democratic governors did wrong by locking down.
Which Democrat governors locked down? And like what does lockdown mean in your world?
The beaches were closed.
I never felt. Well, I mean, you
Schools
can.
were closed.
The beaches is the beaches being closed. Like, is that a lockdown?
Yes,
That's
that
weird.
is.
So I live in a beach town, and my
visit
beaches weren't closed.
relatives.
So I'm just a little bit. I'm confused. I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
In California, for example, were the beaches locked down?
I don't live in California. I live on the other coast.
Where you're on the East Coast?
Yeah, actually, I live. I can walk to the beach right now, technically. Like, and my beaches weren't closed. I went to the beach plenty.
Are you in Florida?
No,
Okay, well, I don't know where you are, but in California, the beaches were closed.
isn't that California's fault?
Yes, it's Gavin Newsom's fault. He's a
Okay.
fucking idiot.
You could say you hate Newsom. I would maybe like and you would if you said I hate Newsom, I would be like, why do you hate Newsom? And then you would give me this explanation. I'd be like, okay, all right, yeah, sure, I guess.
But he was encouraging protest.
Huh?
Were you for the protests?
Yeah, you should protest if you have if you feel like you have a reason to protest. Again, we have a First Amendment in this country, and I'm very supportive of it. I love the First Amendment.
For the BLM protests in the summer of 2020.
Yes, the BLM protest. Sure, you should protest if you have a reason to protest. If you feel like you have a reason to protest.
But you were against the lockdowns.
Sure.
Okay, but was the left? The left was imposing lockdowns, right?
Some governors impose some versions of lockdowns. Sure.
Okay, do you find that hypocritical?
To want some versions of lockdowns, but also want people to protest? No.
Yes. Do you find that hypocritical?
No.
Why not?
Well, because we have this thing called the First Amendment in this country. So if you want to peacefully protest, you absolutely have the right to do so.
Is protesting more important?
Then what?
Than the lockdowns that the Democrats were imposing.
Yes, protesting is more important than the
it
lockdowns,
overrode
yes.
it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, this is why you're insane. Okay?
Because I think the First Amendment overrides lockdowns.
Okay, well, the right was actually protesting the lockdowns, but the Democrats shut that down, right?
And give me an example of that.
There were people on the right, for example, in Canada, that were the truckers' protest.
Sure.
Right.
That was in Canada, right?
Oh, so they told them, yeah. Well, okay, it's a little bit north, but was that
a little bit north? I'm pretty sure Canada doesn't have the same constitution we have, right?
Yeah,
does Canada have a robust First Amendment?
The lockdowns were much more extreme in Canada. I agree with that.
Okay, are you understanding like why I'm saying I don't really give a fuck about this example? Because it's not America. I care about America. We have a First Amendment here. Now, I'm not to say I think I'm sure they have some freedom of speech shit in their constitution. I don't really care. We have a very robust First Amendment. Our First Amendment is very powerful. Covers a lot of things.
Okay, so look, you're not hypocritical. If you're telling me you were against the lockdowns, I don't think you're hypocritical. But most people on the left were for the lockdowns and for the protests. I find that extremely hypocritical.
Well, I find it very lucky then that you're talking to me rather than most people on the left. That's awesome.
You are not against the lockdowns.
I don't know how many times I have to answer a singular question for you to understand my answer to the question.
Okay, so the answer is no. Good. You're not hypocritical. Cool. I agree. But fine. But most people on the left were for the lockdown.
I mean, again, I think it's really lucky then for you that you're talking to me rather than talking to most people on the left.
Are you on the left?
It depends.
Are you on the left or the right? Well, you obviously don't support Trump, so are you?
Yeah,
on the
I'm a little bit more independent than just being able to say left or right. It depends.
Okay.
If we had a reasonable, sane, not brain dead Republican candidate, I would very much consider voting for them. But we do not have that, and so I would. I'm firmly blue at the moment. I'm gonna vote blue all the way down every ticket until MAGA is crushed, and then we'll talk about voting for a Republican again.
Did you get the vax?
Yeah.
How many? 3 or 4?
3, I think.
Why?
Didn't have a choice.
Why didn't you have a choice?
I was in the military.
I got 0.
I was in the military.
Okay. Oh, that's a reasonable explanation. Okay.
I got the anthrax vaccine too. I don't think. Do you have an anthrax vaccine?
No.
Okay, so I think we can move past that, right? We're good on that.
Yeah, no. But I don't think the vax was necessary for young and healthy people. Or do you disagree? Now your situation is different if you were in the military. I agree. I can concede that.
Yeah. I mean with the information we have currently, I do not claim to be a virologist. Is anthrax that peanut butter shot? No, the peanut butter shot is a antibiotic. It's like penicillin and a bunch of other fucking antibiotics to keep you from getting sick in boot camp because the amount of germs, like that fester in the boot camp environment. Anyway, I'm sorry, I was talking to someone in chat.
You regret getting the vax?
Huh?
Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm in alternative medicine. Do you regret the vax? Do you regret getting the vax?
No, because the other option was to get kicked out of the military, and I'm very glad that I didn't. I'm glad I stayed because now I get to go to college for free. That's pretty lit, right? Yay.
Okay. Well, I don't think young and healthy people needed the vax,
I mean, that might be your position. And you know what? There's a change. Again, not a virologist. I don't pretend to know a shit ton about the vaccine from based on the information that we have available to us now. But it does seem like you were at a pretty damn low risk of having anything horrible happen to you if you were to catch COVID as a, say, 20-year-old young healthy dude. You're probably going to be just fine. But again, not a virologist. I don't really know if it was ultra important for everyone to get it, so as to make it to where it spread. I don't fucking know. I really don't give a fuck about the vaccine shit.
Did
To be honest with you.
Bobby, there was extreme pressure and coercion by the left. I feel like Noam Chomsky. I feel like Jimmy Kimmel. Don't you think there was extreme pressure for people to get the vax?
I mean, I would say look at my we can even do I don't love using like personal examples, but let's use a personal example. Look at me, like think about how much pressure I had to get the vax. Like I literally had to, or I was going to get fired from my job. Like, so yeah, I mean there was pressure, sure, but then you'd have to tell me why that's bad.
It's bad because it was very. That's why.
That last word you said cut out. I didn't hear that.
Dangerous.
What's dangerous?
For young people, the vax was extremely dangerous. There's approximately 1,000 side effects.
I mean, there could be a million side effects, but if there's like a 0.00001% chance of any of them happening, then I wouldn't call that dangerous.
No, I think
the raw number doesn't mean anything, correct?
There was an extreme. There are lots of side effects, or do you think that's wrong? Myocarditis, neurological damage, cancer.
I feel like maybe you didn't hear me or something. Let's say there was a million negative side effects from the vaccine, but each one of them only had a 0.0000001% chance of coming to fruition. Would you call that a dangerous vaccine?
Much higher.
I'm gonna ask the question until you answer it. Just to be clear, that's usually how I handle types of people like you that just don't want to answer shit. If there was a vaccine that had a million side effects and each side effect came with a 0.0000001% chance of that vaccine coming to fruition, or that side effect coming into fruition, would you call that a dangerous vaccine?
Say the percentage again. You cut out.
Just small as fuck, tiny, microscopic.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case with the C19.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask it again. If there was a vaccine that had a million negative side effects, but each side effect only had a 0.0000001% chance of coming into fruition, would you call that a dangerous vaccine?
No.
Okay, that's good.
That wasn't the case with the C19 vax.
What's the what is the like rate of like let's hone in on myocarditis. What's the rate of getting myocarditis from the vaccine? What is that?
The rates of I don't know about myocarditis specifically, but the rates of serious adverse events from the C19 vax was approximately 7%.
Was approximately 7%. Where are you getting that?
Yeah, Dr. Paul Merrick.
Okay, so we don't have like a comprehensive study, or maybe he was using one. Could you maybe cite to the study that he was using?
Dr. Peter McCullough.
Could you do you think you could maybe cite to the? Do you think you can maybe cite to the study that they did or that they were referencing?
I'm just giving you the doctor where I got that number.
Well, I know what you're doing. I'm asking you do you think that you could maybe cite to the study that they did or that they are referencing when they make that claim?
Yeah, well, I'm telling you the numbers he gave. He said that look, that vax was an agent of doom, man.
What if I told you that? What if I told you that the rate was like 0.1 or 0.00001%?
No, it is that vax was extremely dangerous.
Sure, I could tell you that it was. I could tell you that it was that low, and you'd have no reason to believe me because I'm not citing to any source. I'm not citing to a study or anything. Just like right now, I have no reason to believe you or Peter McCullough. Right? I don't have any reason to believe because you are unable to cite to any actual, to any actual source making that claim. Right?
The doctors. I'm telling you who's saying this. That's my source.
Yeah, that's fine. What did they use to come to that conclusion? That's what I'm asking you.
I think part of it was VAERS.
Do you know what VAERS is?
Yeah, the adverse event reporting system.
That's what does VAERS track, right?
Adverse events.
Yeah, related to a vaccine?
Yes.
Okay, so VAERS tracks self-diagnosed reports of adverse reactions that come in the immediate days following getting a vaccine, right? One of the issues you had around COVID was that because of people like you that want
MR
to, because of anti-vax weirdos like you. One of the issues that propped up was that, like pre-COVID vaccine, pretty much no one even knew about the VAERS database. But the VAERS database, just the very knowledge of its existence, blew up during COVID, such that way more people than ever before were aware that they could go to VAERS and report some sort of anything really. Unfortunately, we don't really have any way of sorting through that data and saying like, okay, well, if there wasn't this weird consequence from social media, like blowing up the very existence of the VAERS database to the point where like infinitely more people than ever before knew to go there or knew that they could go there, what would the data look like if that didn't happen? We'll never know. So VAERS isn't really like a great source to go to say like, oh, there's this many reports of negative side effects from the COVID vaccine, because a lot of that's going to get infinitely blown up just based on the amount of people that know about it now because of people like you.
Look, man, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I like to think of myself as an autodidactic shaman. And there were all kinds of early treatment available for C19 that was suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I can tell you how to treat C19 if you want to. There are generic pharmaceuticals to do that, or I can tell you my alternative methods. The vax was not needed, okay? And I'll give you another weird one, and I know that most people will think this is fucking crazy. The C19 vax is actually a danger to my health just by being around you fucking people because you're transmitting something.
Sure, that's stupid, but sure, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Environmental exposure. There were all kinds of reports of young women in 2021, the spring of 2021, that were reporting changes to their menstrual cycle. The recently vaxxed, the mRNA platform is fucking toxic and extremely dangerous, okay?
Oh, okay, so here's an actual study, by the way, I found while you were yapping. So we got among nearly 43 million people in England ages 13 and older who received at least one dose and up to 3 doses of the COVID vaccine. Fewer than 3,000 people were hospitalized or died with myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle during the study period of December 1st, 2020 through December 15th, 2021. So in a 1 year period, that is 0.007%, which is not too far off from my notes. It's certainly pretty far off from your numbers. Kind of in the ballpark of the made-up numbers I used, which is kind of fun.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you, why was the vax needed for young people? It didn't stop transmission, or do you think it did?
You did the thing again where you walked away from your mic, and now I can't really hear you.
One sec.
The vaccine didn't kill enough people.
The vax never stopped transmission, right? Or did it?
No.
Didn't stop transmission?
Nope.
Okay, but weren't we told that it did in 2021?
Yeah, I think that claim did get made. Stupid.
Was that the whole basis for like colleges requiring their students to get vaxxed? And it was all bullshit.
Don't colleges already require their students to get vaxxed, or no?
No.
Oh, that's super weird, because for me to go to college, I had to submit proof of a whole bunch of vaccines that I had gotten. Otherwise, I actually couldn't go.
For the C19 vax?
No, I actually didn't have to prove that I had the COVID-19 vax. That's really funny.
College, look, I'm probably a lot older than you, but when I went to college, I never had to provide vax status.
Okay, well, I mean, then maybe try to dial back the amount of talking that you do on subjects that you don't fucking know anything about, then maybe. Because you very much do have to prove vaccine status to go on to, go to be on a college campus.
For elementary school, you do, but for college, look.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So I had to prove that I had gotten the flu vaccine, the hepatitis vaccine, a couple other ones. We got people in chat saying they also had to. Yes. I had to. Yes. So yeah, I mean, yeah, seems like that's just been a thing. Now maybe it is the case that you are just so fucking dinosaur old that you didn't have to back in the day, but at least for a good amount of time, you have had to.
Okay. I was specifically talking about the C19 vax.
I didn't have to prove that I got the C19 vax. I mean, I fucking did, but I didn't have to prove it.
Well,
that shit's done and over with.
It's
not really done and over with. There's still COVID cases, but we're not really worried about mass pandemic type shit.
C19 is still around, isn't it?
I mean, I just said that, but sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we're not we don't have that same concern, right? Of like, oh, it's gonna fucking get everybody. Like, we're not really worried about it anymore. Especially now that we have like way more information on the types of people that are at risk. Now we know, like, again, I think we talked about it. Generally younger people, and I mean, what's the strong demographic on a college campus, right? It's going to be your younger guys. It's your 18 to 23. Yeah. It's a lot of that, right? So the risk, at least in that environment, is probably not so big. So maybe that's why they don't, or at least my school. Now it might be the case. I don't want to I don't want to make claims for others, but I didn't have to prove it. Now, it might be, maybe there's people in my chat that are in school right now and they did have to prove that they got it. I'm just telling you that I didn't have to.
Okay, I'm just asking you why would colleges require their students to get the C-19 vaccine if it didn't stop transmission and the risk to young people is low? Can you just answer me that?
You're talking about at the time, right? During the pandemic?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be the case that there was very little information, especially early on, especially in that 2020 type time frame of kind of what was really like what the facts really were. You know, what's the lethality rate here? Who's at risk? Who, you know, how good is this vaccine even going to be at curing, or not curing, but at preventing the disease at all? So it seemed like pretty much everybody just universally decided to go with the safest route they could think of, which is just like, let's just get the fucking vaccine. So maybe we can wipe this disease out. Turns out we did. I mean, we didn't wipe it out, but are we? How concerned are we in 2025? Like right now, like, how concerned are you that you're going to get COVID? When you get sick, do you take a COVID test?
Isn't it?
Sorry, what did you say?
C-19 is still around, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've already said that. What I'm saying is the level of concern that we have for it nowadays is so much lower. Can you agree to that? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. Maybe that should have been the case in 2020 and 2021.
You think the level of concern should have been like super low?
Yes.
And like, why would we have come to that conclusion? Like, we shouldn't even care about this.
For young people, absolutely.
Yeah, but how would we have known at the time that like, oh, young people are completely fine?
It was
Generally.
known.
It's not that, it's not like no young people have ever died from it, but like I mean, you and I can both agree. Like, the risk is very low, very low.
Right, and that was known early on, even in China in 2020, early 2020. That was known. When
was the first case of COVID?
Oh, probably approximately November of 2019.
Okay, it's December. I was just saying. I think I was just seeing if you're gonna say anything fucking brain dead, but you're close enough to where I'm gonna overlook that. That's so good. Or totally fine.
Yeah.
You're just saying a lot of stuff that is makes me feel like I wouldn't have been surprised if you were like, actually, it was there was one in China in 2016. Like that wouldn't have shocked me. I'd have been like, yeah, that seems like the guy.
Was it natural or did it come from a lab? It came from a lab.
Almost certainly it was natural.
It's a bioweapon.
Almost certainly it was natural.
I can tell you about that if you'd like.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't want to get you in trouble on here. So
I also don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, never mind. I got in trouble. You got in trouble, unfortunately, for misinformation. Good luck. He got the misinformation tag, or he got the misinformation violation, so I had to kick him or it was going to give it to me. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and if you're still here at the end, you must have either really liked the content or you are a very dedicated hate watcher. Either way, please like, comment, and subscribe to appease the algorithm overlords. And I'd like to give a super special thank you to my YouTube channel members and TikTok and Twitch subscribers right over here. If you'd like to become a channel member, you can click the join button down below and gain access to a special role in my Discord server, the ability to watch these YouTube videos up to a week early, and have your name shouted out at the end of videos like this. Becoming a YouTube member or subscribing on TikTok or Twitch is the best possible way to support me directly, and I deeply appreciate each and every single one of you that chooses to do so. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a fantastic rest of your day.